This is Kenai. He's 8 months old and he's never been off the leash before for fear of him running away. Now, before we take him outside and start the training, it's vital that he understands that I'm the pack leader and that he is listening to me. This is something I talk about later on, and I go into in full detail in my video website, theonlinedogtrainer.com. If your dog thinks that they're the pack leader, then you're always going to be in trouble, no matter how much training you do. Remember, dogs are pack animals, so they understand that they should be following the pack leader. Now, when training a dog this age, who's never free run before, I would never let them off the leash straight away. Instead, I would attach what I call a long line. It's a simple line with a clip at one end, and you can take it on and off easily. It's around 10 to 30 meters in length, depending on the size of your dog and the age. Now, one thing we have to accept is that if your dog doesn't come when you call and you don't have them on the long line, there's not a lot you can do. Shouting and screaming doesn't work. So we need to be sure that they're going to come back before letting them off this long line or a leash. So many clients tell me how nervous they are the whole time that they're training their dog because their dog may run off. However, because Kenai's on a long line, I'm relaxed and enjoying the training, and that's important because your dog will soon pick up on all your energy and respond far better if you're calm and relaxed. Here's my first recall. Kenai's heading off to play in the bushes, but the long line's lying on the ground by my foot, so by standing on it I can halt his progress, call him to me. When he comes, I reward him with something that he loves. Could be a toy or a game, such as throwing the ball or food, or of course what we ultimately want, which is our dog to work for our praise and attention. One of the most common mistakes is that people don't make the recall a positive experience for their dog. They call them, and by the time their dog responds, they're frustrated and either shout at them or put them on the leash, making the recall a bad experience. Instead, focus on making it the best experience as often as possible. Kenai's now made his way down onto the beach, and because he's still got the long line attached, we've got total control of him. If he didn't, I would be a little bit concerned that he could wander off and be pretty hard to catch. What you're going to see though is a great example of how the long line can be used to train the recall. Here I'm going to call Kenai, and then I'm going to call again, and he doesn't really hear me, as you can see, partly because he's so involved and excited in sniffing around. So I give the long line a quick tug, and when he starts to come and turns towards me, I start to encourage him. Good boy, using lots of positive energy. And because he's coming right back towards me, I just keep encouraging. Remember, this is a dog who's never been off the leash before. Now when he comes to me, I don't take his collar or put him on a lead. I simply reward him and release him. That's the whole point. It's getting him used to this sequence that I call call, reward, release. You want recall to become the best words your dog can ever hear. Think of it as just asking a dog to quickly come, check in with you, and in return they'll be rewarded and released. Now here I'm using a slightly different word. It's this way. I use it when I want my dog to follow me, but they don't have to come right to my feet. So I shout this way, and there they go. They follow me onto the beach. Perfect. Since Kenai has done so well coming when called, I've let the end of the long line out of my reach for the first time, although I still have much more control of him than if it wasn't attached at all. Another powerful trick is having a few other dogs around to show yours how they should behave early on. It's something you should consider if you've got friends with well-trained dogs, or if you see a well-matched dog out at the park. Most owners are very appreciative of what you're doing, and they're happy to help. As mentioned earlier, dogs are pack animals, and they're most fascinated with meeting and greeting each other, so use it to your advantage. Now here I'm going to stand on the long line, and I'm going to take Kenai's collar, because I want to see how he responds when I grab him, and whether or not he tries to pull away and avoid me. But because all of his experiences with me have been so positive, as you can see, he's absolutely fine. Again, it's a quick reward, and I release him. This is about 30 minutes after we started, and Kenai is returning to us of his own accord, because we've given him so much freedom. I've decided that it's about time that we took the long line off. He's more than proven himself by coming back to us every time we call him. So I'm going to simply unclip the line, and as you're going to see, it's as if absolutely nothing's changed. This, remember, is his very first time off the leash. And what is he going to do? Well, it's time to play in the sand, and as you can see, he just wants to be a happy boy, rolling around. He's going to go and do what dogs do best. Now it's so important at this point to realise I've still never called Kenai over and made it a negative association. I've never called him and told him off or put him on a short leash and restricted his movement. It's always been positive. Now what I'm going to demonstrate here last of all is the power of being that pack leader and your dog wanting to stay within the pack. In a second my two dogs are going to realise that I've just run off down the beach, and without calling them you're going to see my dogs follow and then Kenai follows suit. This is the power of the pack in action. There's my dogs noticing me, and now Kenai spotted it as well and he follows. Now this is definitely an exercise you should try, even if it's just you and your dog. Running quickly in one direction with lots of energy and purpose is a great way of getting your dog's attention and then getting them to follow, and of course it ends with lots of praise and attention. The power of being the pack leader is everything. Here you can see I've turned around and run back again just to prove the point. Kenai's following the pack and the pack is following me. Haven't had to call him once or encourage him, he simply knows he should follow, that it's in his best interest. When you're ready to go home, all you do is simply walk over to your dog very calmly, take them by the collar and slip the lead on. Then there was no association with a recall and the end of the fun. But as you can see, Kenai's more than happy to go home. He's pretty exhausted, he's had a wonderful time. His first time off the leash has been an absolute success. Well done, Kenai.